Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/JustNoMil. In today's episode, threw my mother out for disrespecting my husband. Was I wrong? MIL can't wait to kidnap LO. Husband finally noticed. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Threw my mother out for disrespecting my husband. Was I wrong? My family has continuously disrespected my 37F husband, 33M. I was previously married in my 20s and share a son, 14M, with my ex, 38M. He only sees him 2 to 4 weeks out of the year by choice. My husband and I have him the other 11 months. My husband stepped in when my son was 9 and has been providing, raising, loving, guiding him since. We also have a 2-year-old son together. My family, namely mother/sister, have constantly shoved my ex down his throat. They have made comments to him over the years that I've had problems with. They tell him he is just the stepdad. They will say Happy Stepfather's Day instead of just Happy Father's Day. They remind him he's my second husband. No, he is my husband. My mom/sister, 41F, are friends with my ex on FB. My mom had posted on his page that he is the best son-in-law ever. He replied, "You know you have a new one, right?" My sister calls my husband sensitive and insecure for getting upset. I set boundaries to please not bring up my ex anymore. We don't hate the guy, we are just trying to live our life out of his shadow. Things have been weird too. My mom FaceTimed me once and there was my ex sitting on her couch. No one told me he was visiting her or asked how I would feel about that. She has told him he can stay with her anytime he's in FL. My mom has said to my husband she wished me and my ex would have worked out. Then she has said I should have just banged him instead of marrying him. I told my mom it makes me angry that she checks up on my ex. I feel it's not her place to be doing that. They were never even close when we were married. She was supposed to visit from FL, but we got into it about my ex, so she cancelled. We were out $500 that week. We let our nanny have the week off since my mom would be here. She went to my sister's. She later messaged me asking if she could come down after said planned time. I said okay. Well, while here she gets a FaceTime call from my ex. She then says she didn't know why he called, that she doesn't talk to him anymore. I went and called my ex, who then sent me screenshots of her reaching out to him the week prior. She sent selfies of herself, pics with my sister and pics of sister's dog. This really angered me, as I had already told my mom it bothers me that she keeps tabs on my ex. I want her to focus on my family, meaning my husband. I got into a screaming match with her and ended up saying, if you can't respect my family/husband, then get the F out of my house. She did, and I haven't heard from her or my sister since. My sister thinks I was being overdramatic and that there should be nothing wrong with my mom talking to my ex. It would be one thing to talk to him about our son, but that's not the case. She's sending him pictures of what she's doing. My sister says my husband is insecure, which really pisses me off too. They just don't get it. Am I being ridiculous? What would you do? No, you're not wrong. Screw that stepdad crap. He stepped up and raised your son, so he is his father. Anybody can make a child through DNA, it takes a real adult to step up and be a parent. Thank you for standing up to him. I say this number one because it's the right thing to do, and number two, my ex never did this for me to his family. They were constantly shoving his ex-wife down my throat. I understand how it feels. This is all I ever asked him to do, stand up for me, and he wouldn't do it. It just shows me how little he respects me. Anyway, no, you're not wrong. You're being a good spouse. Good on you. Who is more important here, your husband or your mother? Block that one that is abusing you. This has nothing to do with any insecurities your husband has. Your own mother is acting like a teenager with a crush on your ex. Her behavior is weird and creepy. It is perfectly reasonable and normal for you to be upset by her embarrassing behavior. In particular, her actions make, I say make because it doesn't sound like he is driving this, him intrude into your life. You don't want that. Your mom needs a nice long time out. You are correct. My ex doesn't initiate things with her. He's pleasant back to her, but he's married and has moved on too. We've been divorced 10 years. It's crazy. I did ask my mom if she has some weird thing for him. She acted like she didn't know what I was talking about. Honestly, in my opinion, they are not the only problems here. What the hell is your ex thinking in having any kind of relationship with them, let alone one this unhealthy? I can't imagine being anywhere near this close to an ex's family, especially when they have a new man. I think you may need to speak with him and see if you can get him to see how weird this all is, and maybe get him to agree to cut this off a bit. Also, yeah, this comes off as very controlling and disrespectful of your mom and sis, so NC with them may also be advisable too. This is not normal. DH is not too sensitive. Your mom and sister are acting like the high school mean girls. Shame on them. As long as my mother was in contact and friends with my ex, she would be NC for me. No ifs, ands, or buts. It is good that you are supporting DH. Block mother and sister until they grow up and learn to treat DH with respect. They don't have to like him, but they do have to be respectful. Comparing him to or bringing up the ex is not respectful. Can you send them this site and tell them to read the post? They evidently have no confidence in you that you will choose a compatible partner. They are treating you as if you aren't smart enough to make your own decision. I would go NC so fast it would make their heads spin. Continue to stand up for DH. Good luck to you both. You will be much happier as a couple if you avoid the toxic extended relatives. They don't want you to be happy. They want to judge and cause hurt to DH. Don't stand for it. Honestly, I think the best thing to do is to go NC with your mom and sister. They can't respect your husband and he can't endure all those negative comments forever. It's not fair to him. It's good that you kicked her out. If she reaches out again, she might change for the better, but who knows? I got into a screaming match with her and ended up saying, if you can't respect my family/husband, then get the F out of my house. She did, and I haven't heard from her or my sister since. Problem solved. Seriously. Just drop the rope. She answered the question, and any more contact with either of them is you actively undermining your relationship with your husband and children. Let him die on the floor where your mother dropped it. There's two separate issues going on here. One is your mom's relationship with your ex. She's an adult and can have whatever relationship with other adults she wants, without your consent or approval necessary. You can't control these relationships, even if they involve your ex, but you can set boundaries around how they impact you and your family. You, DH, son, everyone else is extended family or former family in the case of ex now. For example, you can let her know that you're not willing to tolerate any more conversations about X and will be hanging up / walking away / leaving / ending the visit if she brings him up or ambushes you with him, then follow through consistently. Took my mil 4 times to get the point, but then it stopped. The other is the lack of respect for your partner and your family's boundaries. This is another place to start enforcing boundaries with consequences you're able to control. Instead of saying, "Mom, stop bringing up X around DH," which requires her to cooperate, start ending your interactions the moment X's name is mentioned. Calmly, without any kind of verbal clapback, simply get up and walk out, or hang up, or hand her her coat and purse and open the door, blah blah X dash, boom, interaction over, every time. Hang in there. MIL can't wait to kidnap LO. Just venting, I guess. My MIL is a very generous and lovely lady, but sometimes she says things that just send me raving mad. Our LO is only 3 months old and her first grandchild. She also has another grandchild 3 weeks younger than ours that lives about 5 hours away. She just purchased a house 450 meters from our house. Casually talking the other day, she said she can't wait until LO is older and she can sneak over early on a Saturday morning while we're asleep and break in with her emergency key and take LO and leave a note saying, "Gone to Grandma's." Other things that have happened lately are her constantly calling LO, "my baby." Insisting that she can settle LO and not giving LO back to me while it's very clear LO is not settling with her. Got pissy when I didn't jump at the chance to have her babysit my then 7-week-old. And my favorite, talking negatively about me to LO. Example, "Oh my LO. Your mum must be tired because she forgot a spare onsie in your nappy bag. I'm going to have to write a checklist for her so she knows what she needs before she takes you out." Am I just being a sensitive first-time mother, or are these things that would annoy anyone / be worthy of being just no MIL title? Update. I've spoken to my partner. He works away and got home today. When I told him what she said about using her key to sneak in, he had some pretty choice words to say. The key that she has is for a door that has a deadbolt which uses another key, which she doesn't have. We've locked the deadbolt. Her key won't let her in unless we unlock it and is not the door we regularly use. We're also going to be changing the windows in LO's bedroom so that they're lockable. We're also going to look into the suggestions of security cameras / devices that people have recommended. I'm just glad he didn't dismiss it as a joke. We spoke about the other things I mentioned in my post. We're seeing her tomorrow and he's going to talk to her about the way she talks to me sometimes and remind her if it's not supportive or helpful, we don't want to hear it. He also said I need to snap back when it happens so she learns that I'm not going to put up with it. I have a hard time being assertive and using my voice, so I will be working on that. Just to clarify, just because a comment advises exercising caution doesn't automatically mean it's fearmongering. Chill. Even if she were the nicest, sweetest, most helpful lady ever, even if she does not actually mean to ever sneak into your house, even if she says she was only joking, she is going over the line. She is saying upsetting and creepy things. And that passive-aggressive, "let's tell the baby how inadequate mom is," crap. No way. You say you have a hard time being assertive. It can help to practice scripts ahead of time. Remember, you are telling her how it's going to be. She has already passed the line at which y'all could have reached a compromise about her behavior. There is no, "well, you can be a little bit rude." She mouth-farted. You're being rude. I already told you, you're being rude. No, that won't be happening. I already told you, that won't be happening. Also develop a signal ahead of time that you share with your spouse that means, time to escort this person from our home and lock the door behind her. A common one is, I see you're upset, so you should go home now. We'll talk some other time. Don't forget to print your list on something biodegradable so I can flush it with the rest of the nonsense you're verbalizing. It's like being mean, but classier. LOL. On top of locking windows for LO room, you could look into getting some window film. I have some on the windows in my room that makes rainbows all over, and keeps people from being able to look in. Well, the silver lining about passive-aggressive people is that you don't need to be assertive per se to respond, just a little bit of snark and PA right back at her. I'm going to have to write a checklist for her so she knows what she needs before she takes you out. Oh, you're going to write me a checklist? Great, I have the perfect place to put it. Smile, wink, grab your baby, and bug out. Practice some comebacks before you meet with her and you'll do great. You got this, mama, you'll be fine. I'm going to have to write a checklist for her so she knows what she needs before she takes you out. And I'm going to write grandma a list of things she said that's going to cause her to be put in a timeout. My mom has passed on now, but when my kiddo was little, she was my full-time babysitter. Single parent, my mom would say negative things to my daughter about me all the time. It caused a serious rift in our relationship, me and daughter. My mom died right before kid turned 18, and on her deathbed she spoke of me and my daughter being able to fix our relationship, after all those years of turning her against me. My kid is 30 now and our relationship is quite a bit better, but I can tell my daughter doesn't fully appreciate the things I've done for her, nor does she 100% respect me. There is some respect now, but I can tell she mostly doesn't. Anyway, my point is, I think words are important. Idle, negative, words said about the mom from grandma can be damaging to a kid's perception of mama. Don't let grandma buy with too much. Best wishes. Husband needs to message her. Mom, what is this crap you're telling my wife about? You're going to break in and kidnap our LO. Just what are you hoping to achieve? Don't bother telling me it's a joke. It was a passive-aggressive power move and I'm not having it. I want the key to my house back, immediately. If you ever show up at my door uninvited, I will call the cops on you. When you speak to my wife about our child, quit the passive-aggressive comments through the LO telling her what you think she's doing wrong. It's not your business. Keep your opinions to yourself. If you don't calm down and stop it right now, you're getting a massive timeout from seeing any of us. Stop calling our LO your baby. We've had enough of you. Obviously that can lead to LC or NC if she persists. Honestly, if you want things to change, this is the way. Get on the same page together and call it out. Loud and clear. Get those boundaries in place. Insisting that she can settle LO and not giving LO back to me. Am I just being as sensitive? No, you most definitely are not just being sensitive. All of this is serious and should be treated as such. That is an immediate go take baby if withheld. If she in some way prevents it, call police. This is an issue to go the ballistic option if necessary. For right now, she's on timeout, so it will not be an issue for some time. I'd go with 1 month timeout, and DH should tell her when he talks to her. No contact of any kind. Do not call. Do not visit. Do not set foot on our property. If you try, police will be informed. We will have your trespassed, and if we do, that's permanent. You are never allowed on property we own ever again. If she continues to try to contact you after this conversation, get a cease and desist from a lawyer. At the end of the time out, she can apologize for what she did, but she is still treated as suspect. Always remember, forgiveness does not mean letting them do it all to you again. After the timeout, she will need to prove she can be trusted. No visits at your house or at hers. They need to be on neutral ground where you can easily and quickly leave if necessary. If there are zero incidents between now and Christmas, then you could consider a very brief visit at her house with DH with you after he has worked through a good workbook on setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. If she withholds little ones so much as a second when they are upset on that visit, he goes to her, takes baby, hands baby to you, then informs her a new 6-week timeout starts immediately. He should never hesitate to instate a timeout for poor behavior. If at any time during this period of her working to reattain trust she mentions, my baby, or kidnapping, that is a new 1-month timeout as well, and you should definitely consider only visits on neutral ground until child is old enough to decide for themselves, and only on rare special occasions. No more than 2 to 3 times per year for a couple hours. I'm here to warn you about the dangers of not taking the kidnapping threat seriously. My JustNoMil pulled all the same crap on me you say yours has pulled on you. When I tried to limit contact, she picked up my kids from school, withheld them, and took me to court trying to say I was a bad parent, thus should give my children to her. I was very lucky I was able to procure a competent attorney for a price I could afford. Her bid failed and she had to release my children to me, causing her great consternation. Unfortunately, by this time some of the damage was done as my kids had come to think of her as a loving gran. She got back in touch with them as adults. The best bit of the story is it only took her about 2 years to alienate both my kids for pulling the same *T on them she always pulled on me. We've been a happily no-contact extended family for about 7 years now. Don't be me. Nip this in the bud immediately, by all means necessary. If you can afford it, have a talk with a lawyer who has dealt with cases like mine. Ask about recommendations to keep your family safe, and if you're the one who sets this up, ask them lawyer to put the fear of God in your husband over this. I have a hard time being assertive and using my voice, so I will be working on that. There are other ways of asserting yourself that you might be more comfortable with. Chief among them is using your eyes. When MIL oversteps, look directly into her eyes and hold your gaze with a neutral expression. Let the silence speak for you. That is often enough. You can always ask, "Why did you say that? That's not helpful. I don't appreciate you undermining me as a parent/whatever." Actions are most effective. End the visit immediately. The trick is to stay calm and in control. Change your locks, because you know she's made a copy. Get a Nest camera. And tell her flat out that if she ever takes your child from your house in the early hours of the morning without your permission, you'll call the police and she'll be charged with kidnapping. Hill to die on. Husband finally noticed. My husband finally noticed that my JNMIL always calls/texts me instead of him. While on a weekend away with DH at his family vacation home, I get a call from my JNMIL asking me to please bring back a thing that she had left behind the last time she was there. Me, sure thing, no problem. We're good, blah blah blah. Afterwards, DH actually said, "Why is she calling you? She knows I'm here too." And I said, "Because she always calls me when she should be calling you." And he seems to finally believe me when I say that this is what she always does. I think up to this point he didn't quite believe me when I said that when he didn't respond to her she started contacting me first, but now he finally sees. I'm hopeful that this will lead to less calls/texts for me. It's great that he's noticed, but she's calling you because it works. Stop responding and don't give in to her demands. When DH isn't around, I don't respond. I answer when he's around so he can see just how silly her calls to me are, since she should be calling him. When she sends a text that's appropriately for me, asking how my family is doing or how my work is going, then I answer. I'm not trying to ignore her for the sake of ignoring her. But when she sends a message to DH and I asking us to come to dinner, I'm not responding. That's on him. If he doesn't respond, then he can tell his mom why he ignored her. Next step. You ignore her calls. My MIL does this too, along with giving me a list of family birthdays to acknowledge, because my so is so bad at those sorts of things, unbelievable, but classified as women's work. Sigh. My MIL started getting on my case for not sending her family members thank you cards. I'm busy keeping your grandkids alive all day, your son can send a thank you text. Why would DH realizing MIL calls you more instead of him will result in less calls for you? I think it'd be the opposite, because only you respond and do things for her. Because her behavior doesn't begin to change until DH tells her to stop. I've been telling DH that she does this for a while, but now he's seen it multiple times firsthand. So he knows it's time to have a talk with her. I think I'd prefer if JustNoMil did text me. I'm in the opposite boat. My JNMIL will only text my husband, even when she has our kid and he's at work. Makes me feel like I'm not a parent, and that my say/opinions/feelings don't matter. I never get texted or invited to events with them either. My husband will get the invite that says, "Hey, we're having dinner if you wanted to come, sorry but that's a solo invite, not a, did you guys want to join us for dinner?" Husband and I have had many fights about that alone. If I'm not texted or invited, then I'm not showing up. If I don't show up, neither does my kid. Oh, and if I don't show up, the legend grows, where they make up shitty stories about me, and since I'm not there to correct them, they stick. Absolute misery. Yay, great success. The next step on your path to sanity is to stop answering those calls and texts and tell her that her son will contact her when he's available. The only way to get her to stop is you completely ignore her. If you respond, she will keep doing it. BC it works. That is my experience anyway. Reply with, "I'll let hubby know," every time. I wouldn't engage, I'd leave her on read. My MIL developed this bad habit of asking my husband a question, which he would answer, and if she didn't like that answer she would call me and ask again. My answer would be the same. This continued until one day she called me immediately after calling him while we were both in the car. I let him answer and he flat out asked her why she thought my answer would be any different. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.